Hey everyone, and welcome to Lingerie Lowdown, Down the podcast. I'm Jim Williams, your host, and we are going to, over the coming weeks, months, and hopefully years, educate, enlighten, and entertain you as we do a deep dive each week into the multi-billion-dollar world that is one of the fastest growing areas of fashion. Of course, we were talking about lingerie. Now, through Lingerie Lowdown, the website, and of course, if you've checked out our YouTube channel, you've seen men and women who do the reviews, thousands of different types of items of lingerie. And here on the podcast, we're going to give you an opportunity to meet those presenters who come from all corners of the globe. They're very diverse and inclusive group. They're models who represent all body types, and they always give honest reviews of the items that they wear. Now, we are also going to take the opportunity to introduce you to industry insiders who represent some of the top fashion houses in the business, as well as clue you in to some of the top cutting edge, smaller lingerie shops that you may not have heard of before. All right. So that's our goal, and we're going to have fun doing it. We've had fun so far. And today we are lucky. We have Alexandra McCue. Now, Alexandra is one of my favorites. Alex knows that because she is smart. She is gifted as both a model and as someone who has a point of view. And that, I think, Alex, is one of my favorite things about you. There is no in between with you. You either like something or you don't, and you tell us straight out. And I respect that. Talk a little bit about how you look at a review.
I like that observation. That's a really nice observation. Yes, I would agree with you. I am all or nothing kind of person. There is no in between.
Have you always been that way?
Yes, I have. I've never been one to just dip my toe in and wonder and caution about this. It's like, look, it's fight or flight. I'm either going to have it or I'm not. And it's the same. It kind of transpires through everything. So that's my love life, work life, personal, whatever it might be. If my heart's in it, then you're getting all of it, and if not, then I will tell you quite plainly, but still politely. I do have manners. I was brought up well,
which is good. I mean, we all like to have manners, and but you know what? I don't think speaking your mind is necessarily being rude.
No, it's not. It's not being rude. The problem is what's been lost in translation for many, many years is the way that you communicate. And I know I'm a good communicator, so a lot of people think that they're being real. I said it because I'm being real in it. So I told them how it is. And it's like, that's absolutely fine if you'd like to be real, but you have a certain way in how you deliver things, because you need to understand that not everybody is going to understand the language or how you present it. So you need to adapt the way that you say things or write things in a way where it's it's plain, it's to the point, it's still kind. But it means that more more of an audience is going to understand it.
True. And sometimes you do have to temper things that you may wish to, say, but you say, all right, wait a minute, discretion be the better part of valor. Maybe I just let this one slide a little bit.
You are absolutely spot on. And unfortunately, we have this lovely tool. I don't know if I can actually say companies' names within the podcast. Can I?
Sure.
A social media name. So we have things like Facebook, which has destroyed a lot, but humanity's kind of slowly building things up. Their awareness is being raised at the moment. So we are going through a big transition globally, which is nice. But the point I'm getting at is everybody was putting their thoughts onto this platform, and not everybody agrees with everyone's thoughts, and then everyone's become a keyboard warrior. They have to have a debate, that it has to get aggressive. It has to be like, my point is the one that you need to believe in. And I spent a long time doing this as well, being part of it, and then I realized that it's a very depressing place if you decide to put out your negative thoughts. It's written and it's on the screen and it's there forever. When you go see a friend, you hash it out with them. You could talk about something depressing, cry, and then you could laugh the next moment. It's forgotten about. But on the internet, it's there all the time. And people can't wait. Oh, they can't wait. They've got nothing better in their life than to be trolling on this, and they sit there and they wait for something to go, well, actually, I think you're wrong, and I'm going to raise it by this, and I'm going to say, and you just think, is there any need? And this is, it's all about consciousness. It's all about conscious decision and being more aware of the effect of your words that are coming out your mouth. That, you know, does it make sense? Is there any point in saying it? Is it going to harm anyone? Can you kind of dissect what you're about to say before you say it? And just to give you an example, and then I'll shut up for your next question. There was someone who put this beautiful, as a model, she put a beautiful status up. She's obviously going through a spiritual awakening or something, and so her perspective of the world has changed in a great deal, for a great deal. And I said, yes, there's a huge awakening happening globally. Have you felt or witnessed it yet? And someone I don't even know popped up under my conversation and said, the rise of fascism, that seems to be happening, unless I'm missing something. And do you see what I mean about this, the aggressiveness that people have? It's their little window of thought on one particular thing in a negative way, and they've got this aggression that comes out. So I could have reacted. I could have let my chimp out the cage and been like, what are you on about? I was being nice. Can't you see that? Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. Like everybody tends to do. And then it goes on and on and on. So I went away and I came back and I thought about it again. And I said, how do I diffuse it? How do I have something that this person just can't push against and it doesn't continue? So I said, what you see depends on where you focus.
Right.
And he said, that is correct. Somehow it's hard to equate progress and awakening with so much horrendous stuff simultaneously going on in the world, which was great, because what that did was, it wasn't about me. It wasn't having a dig at him. It was saying something factual that brought his attention to it. And it diffused it, because all he came back with then was, yeah, you're right. And actually, it proved that that's how he thinks, because that's what he sees. And I left it at that, and I didn't need to say anymore.
It's funny that you use the term keyboard warriors, right? Because, you know, as someone who does a lot of writing about politics and entertainment and other things, I'm often on Twitter or Instagram or any other number of places on the multi-platform. And, you know, one of the great things about Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, whatever, is there's an anonymity to it. And so if I put my name out there, or you make a presentation and put your, you know, your name and your, you know, and your image out there, there's a vulnerability to it. And it's easy for someone who, you know, is Dweezer27 on Twitter to go off on me or you or anybody, because they have it's not their name. It's not their, you know, they don't have to own up to who they are. They can take whatever swipe they want to. And to your point, I think it's very important not to jump down those rabbit holes when they go out there, and just basically ignore it and say, fine, you know what? If that's the way you think, you know, I'm not going to change it, and I'm not going to try. You know, it is what it is. You read what I, you know, presented out there. In your case, you saw what I presented out there. If you don't like it, that's cool with me. I mean, you know, fine. You know, but you're not going to engage me into and drag me down that road, because I'm just not going to fight with you, because that's what you want. And I'm not going to play that game. It's nobody wins in a game where, you know, it's all one-sided. The other part of the equation on that, we'll, you know, move on to other things after this, but the other part of that equation is that, you know, I find that people jump in the middle of conversations, so they have no idea what they're talking about. And it's like, you know, you're there, you're like, where did this come from?
Yeah, that happens so much all over the internet, but it's almost like it's about consciousness.
Right.
I think for a long time we've just been on autopilot. We're really not using our brains properly and to its full capacity, its full extent. And when I suppose the term to use is almost brainless. You know, they're coming across things and they're just reacting totally human. like bumbling on something and then trying to, and it's just like, actually just step back, have some control here and understand, like, again, it's bringing yourself to center, being here now, not just like going through everything as how do I explain? It's almost like setting something. I've forgotten.
Well, it's like, well, to take your point, if I'm trying to help you here, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay, I apologize. It's like reacting as opposed to introspection. Okay.
Yes.
You're reacting to something instead of thinking about it before you react. Okay. It's like I read a line and I react to that line without reading the rest of the story.
Yes.
And so it's a reactive, on social media, often you get a reactive response as opposed to an introspective response, where you're taking everything in total and reacting to the total as opposed to the bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do it for everything. It's not even just conversations. They get a bit of media fed to them and they're just going by what they're seeing in front of them. For me now, I mean, I was exactly the same, please. I'm no saint, but I've, again, through raising awareness, and I will always say this throughout this whole conversation, I'll be talking about raising awareness because it's the biggest key in order to progress properly, to be able to help yourself, understand others, move forward. It's about raising your awareness. But I used to do the same. I used to be fed some kind of bad media or video or something on Facebook and believe it was solemn word, believe that was absolutely what was happening. And it was only until, I can't remember, it was a few years back, something had happened and I looked into the video. I was so curious because I was like, that can't be true. And everyone was kicking off about it. I can't even remember the video, but I researched it. I started looking it up myself because we have those tools now. We have that ability to actually not, to do our own research. And I went through it and it had been totally blown up. In fact, the whole story had been fabricated. It was from a totally different viewpoint that they took. And it's the same. It's just basically took it out of context, blew it up, stuck some pictures on it. And it's just the same as keyboard warriors. You've got these deliberate people who set this information out to cause reaction. It's a power trips thing. It's an ego thing. I mean, a lot of things in this world are ego driven. And that's what had happened. They deliberately put this information out to see how far it goes, to see how many people can be used against themselves. They have this superiority where they're like, well, you're all idiots, you actually believe that, and they put it out there because they feel that they're genius by doing something like that. But I mean, I digress. But the point is I researched it and realized that it had been totally fabricated. Now anything that pops up, I've got to research it because I'm like, I don't believe that. And it's the same as, if I come into a conversation, I've seen one horrific comment, I think, oh my God, I think, what sparks that? I'm not going to react. What sparked that? And I've got to go back in time through the thread if it interests me that much. But yeah, people don't give the time to do that. They're acting like monkeys. They're in a bit more of a, I say brainless, but autopilot kind of situation where they just pick things up and react, just boom, 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 boom. There's no calmness. There's no full thought on things.
Well, it's easier to react than it is to research.
Yes, it is. It is. We've been chimps for too long. I think it's about time we we start using our brains properly.
Yeah, at least, if we could just start walking erect and talking, that would be a good start.
That, yeah, I mean, that in itself, right now, there was a big kick about 3 or 4 years ago, depression, anxiety really crept forward and it was in everybody's face. Suddenly this depression and anxiety was everywhere and people were like, God, there's so much. And it's obvious because with the internet, we have so much information available to us now. It's a little bit depressing, because we don't have simple times where you would marry, you would have your children, you would go to work, you would have that right amount of money to earn for your house. You knew what you had at the end and you'd be able to spend on things. We've come away from that. Financially, there was a big tip in like the 1970s And that's it. Now everybody, most people are in debt. They live beyond their means. They're a little bit helpless. That I deserve this, so I'm going to buy this. And it's even gone into obesity, where everything is so available on a mass scale that you can have, that a human being is a little bit like, oh my God, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I am. I don't, there's no kind of structure to your life or boundaries. It's kind of we need some of that discipline, but we don't have that anymore. And I think that depression, anxiety was really pushed forward because of the internet. And now, with a younger generation than me, I'm only 28. I would still consider myself a puppy, but there's people younger than me who are on social media, live on social media and their phones, that their anxiety levels are insane to actually just talk to someone on the phone or even just meet them person to person. That freaks them out. They don't know how to converse properly.
Yeah. I mean, I had written a story a while back, a magazine story. It was called We Are Now in what I like to call the nanny state. Where you have to say, no, you can't have that. No, you can't do that. No, you've got to do this. Because if you don't, you're going to just go off and, it's not going to be a good thing. And I don't know. I think that one of the things that you've done and the folks have done through the website Lingerie Lowdown is you've shown that each presenter in their own way can be expressive and empower themselves. And, you've been able to do that through your presentations on the site. It comes across, as we were saying a little bit in the pre-interview, that you're going to come right up and say, all right, look, here's why I like this. And this is why I like it. Doesn't mean you necessarily will or won't. It's okay, cool. But this is why I like it. Conversely, this is why I don't like it. Okay? You leave very little ambiguity, which I think is very refreshing.
Yes, I totally agree with you, because I see going from what we were talking about today, we've actually used the internet for good purposes. It was getting a little bit dark in places. It was getting a little bit too much, as we said, with all the people decided to jump on and being a bit hot, especially for YouTube, all the comments on there and such. But this is a little place where you've got real life people on real life different shapes and sizes, loving who they are, presenting that and inviting you in almost, into their private rooms to be like, look, let's just chill. I'm going to be on a level with you. This is exactly how I feel with the product. And it's helped. I think it's helped a lot of people because when again, everything ties in together, doesn't it? This is why we're touching on the anxiety and stuff like that. Anxiety is a big deal. And it means that a lot of people aren't stepping outside the front door anymore, and they don't have to because everything gets delivered in, which is great. So that does mean if you don't like something, you'd have to return it. That does mean that you have to step outside the door. So to get on the internet where they can watch it in their own, comfort of their own room, comfort of their own home, and they can trust our word on the garments that get sent to us, and they can see that we love it because it's genuine. The good thing about it is there is no editing. You get our honest reactions and responses to things when we pull it out the bag, when we put it on, and that's great because you can't fake that, and that's good for someone watching it because they think, I think I'd like that. I think, and then they could buy it with a bit more confidence, which I think is a beautiful thing.
We'll be back with more of Lingerie Lowdown right after this from BMW, makers of the ultimate electric driving machine, and we're talking about the i3.
Life is about making decisions. At BMW i, we decided it was time to reinvent the car from the ground up, making sure we were open for truly innovative ideas. We decided that the car we wanted must be electric, and it should be made of extremely light and super strong carbon fiber. And finally, we decided to make it more intelligent and added our promise of incomparable driving pleasure. We made all these decisions to offer you a choice. The all-electric BMW i3.
Welcome back to Lingerie Lowdown. Because each one of these companies that sends the items pay attention, because they should. I mean, because if Alexandra, if you don't like something, okay, and I'm a fashion house, and you don't like it, and you're in the business of modeling, lingerie, if you're not liking it, then I'm going to have a hard time selling it. So I need to pay attention and listen to what you're telling me. And I think that that's one of the other things is brands are paying attention to what you guys say about their product, because they realize that it's important to pay attention to influencers.
Yes, absolutely. It does. It draws you in. And I think because he's got such a good team that love what they're doing as well, it just, when you've got that connection, when you've got that vibe, it's just electric, because it's an energy that you're sending out. And there's me obviously going back on the spiritual stuff, but it's true. Okay. I mean, you can't fake energy. And when you get that from somewhere, that's what pulls people close. That's what attracts them in. So it speaks for itself. The growth that it's had in the last year, it just, it proves that right,
Well, I mean, it's like any one of us who are called a quote unquote influencer, right? If we don't like something and we say that we do, then we're not being honest with ourselves. And so if you come on and you watch what you do and all the other presenters, the honesty is there. I mean, it's not hiding something. You can tell in their face that, that you generally enjoy it or you don't. And I think that honesty is the single most important part of connecting with your audience. If you're not honest with them, then they have no interest in paying attention to you.
Yeah, you've hit the money on that one, because I went to a casting the other day for one of my agencies, and I didn't get the job, although they really liked me. And I asked, why didn't I get the job? I thought that we were all clicking, and they said, look, we'll be honest with you. You haven't got a huge following on Instagram, so we can't pick you for the job. And it just got very real very quickly, that I just thought, geez, that's where we're at right now. And talking about those influence, I am not for a second going to pretend something I'm not, or put a certain picture up or a certain caption in order to get attention. That's not who I am. It's like, and I feel it's the same for this brand. This is why I like it so much, because we are just being who we are being. We're not doing anything else, and we will always attract the right people. And it's the same goes for life. If you just continue to be yourself, the right people will come anyway. A lot of these influencers, what have you, I can't say for everybody, I will not say it for everybody, but a lot of the influencers that you see on Instagram and such, that make it look like so easy, it's a very plastic life. And if I'm honest, I don't want plastic people in my life, because I can't converse with them properly. I'm not on a level with them. So I wouldn't need them as an audience. There's no point. I would prefer to get the real people in that are going to stay around and get something from me, because that's the whole point, is being able to deliver or be of service in some point to someone, because that vibration that you're sending out for yourself is crazy good. And that's what everybody, I would hope, at some point or tries to do regularly in order to make it a better place. And I know that's a bit of a freedom speech, but it's true. If we all were in service a little bit to other people, not just continuously thinking of ourselves, it would be a better place. And I know that's very, very deep, but that's the whole point. That's the mantras. That's the whole mission statement of good companies, is putting people at the heart of it. And that's what I believe that we do, is that realness that comes through of influencing, that this is, a true word coming from me. I'm not just doing it because it's got a label on it and it's given me an absolute wedgie, but I'm not going to tell you that because I want to be booked by the same company again, for, again, selfish reasons and thinking of the customer. That's where it works. That's why we've got the loyalty there. We've got so many people that keep coming back because they love it.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, if you look at, you're talking about Instagram, right? Your Instagram following, your Twitter following, whatever it may be, or your entire social media portfolio. There's so much clickbait out there where they'll throw something up just to instantly get a lot of, instant followers. And then you find out that, why am I following this person? The one time I thought it was good, it's not. And, there's a lot of clickbait being used out there. So even though you may have somebody who has 100,000 or 200,000 Instagram followers, they may be saying nothing.
Yeah.
So,
but it is, you're right. Again, they are saying nothing. They're just, a lot of the time, it's just very empty cliche words. And a lot of people believe to be in the place or to be the right person or to be cool or to doing the right things or have the biggest car or whatever, or to be deemed as successful is to say these cliche things, is to be in with the crowd, is to post that kind of picture in that certain way when I'm looking away from the camera and I've just done a big laugh and it's like, was that real? Did that actually happen? No, it doesn't. But they feel that they have to do that in order to seem like they're doing well, or they get it. They're cool. They're of some status.
Well, one of the things, the realness of Lingerie Lowdown is everybody is a different body type. Everybody is there's a different ethnicity. There's a different part of the world that they're from. There's a different way you approach things. Each one of the presenters, be it female or male. There's no glossiness to it. You know what I'm saying? There's no photoshopping that you could do for an Instagram picture or something like that. What you're looking at is the good bits and the bad bits all at the same time, and there's a vulnerability there, but it's also, there's a realness there. And that realness is something that I think is not seen often on, say, an Instagram photo or on social media in general. You tend to try to clean that up, if you will. In the case of Lingerie Lowdown, they show everybody, everybody's in their vulnerable position. We all look the way we look, and you accept it because that's a comfortable. You're comfortable with who you are. You don't have to be photoshopped to make it look good.
Exactly. Because I'll be honest with you, I've been modeling for 8 years now, and I've had my ups and downs with rejecting it, especially with the spiritual stuff that I do. Mm-hmm. I do get this from time to time, like, am I doing the right thing? And it's because a lot of the time who you portray is this perfect person. And we're not all perfect people, we all have lumps and bumps and what have you. And actually, the place would be a lot, the world and such would be a lot better if we did just show all our flaws and assets, because we're not trying to be perfect all the time. And I that's what I absolutely love about Lingerie Lowdown, is that I am myself. I am proud of who I am. We still have a great following on it. There's still, people coming back to it and what have you. And I've got no problem with it being out there. And it's really comforting to know that is able to do well in this world. It gives a lot of hope. Yeah.
And many of the presenters have not been modeling. They just began the process and they felt like, wait a minute, I can do this. I'm comfortable with it. Let's go. And so it's been an empowering thing for them. And I think that's good on so many levels for all of us, is that, you can feel that being yourself is good enough to be empowered, and you too can be a model regardless of whether or not you're a size 0.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So moving on. Okay, let's see. Now, your Instagram folks have sent some questions. And how about we play with those questions? What do you think?
Yes, let's play. And do you know what I've done? I've done
that?
Another lingerie lowdown kind of thing. I've not sat there. I had the questions once, and obviously I'll let you know about the questions, but I haven't looked at them, studied them, and wondered what I was going to say. I actually haven't seen them again. So this would be like new. I'd like to just answer on the spot.
I like it that way, in spontaneously. You ready?
Yeah.
What is the secret behind your jolly nature? Given all that deepness that we went through, right? I figured, you know what? Let's start off with this one.
Oh my God!
I'm like, okay, you know what? You put it out there, so all right, let's go with it.
I did. What's the secret to the jolly nature?
Yeah.
Well, cut a long story short, because I got a hell of a story. I feel like a 50-year-old woman in a 28-year-old's body, I tell you now.
You can go ahead. We got nothing but time. You can tell me the long story, the short story, whatever you want.
Okay. Not to bring it down a notch or, down a key.
You don't have to lay down on the couch like you're doing a session with a psychiatrist here, but just go ahead and take your time.
Okay. So, I was born happy. Which doesn't help a lot of people if they wanted to pick up some tips. But I was born a very free, happy-go-lucky kind of entity. Now, unfortunately, when I was younger, I was conditioned and influenced in a certain way to kind of bash that out of me because people didn't quite understand it. They didn't quite understand. They've got it confused because I have attention deficit hyper disorder as well. So I am hyper, and they confused it with attention seeking. But the difference between attention seeking and my kind of happiness is I know that I could be up there with the best of them that are on stage and, well, hey, look at me. But I don't do it from a glory standpoint. I don't do it for look at me and worship me. I do it for come with me and enjoy this feeling that I'm on, or, if I could bring you in with me so we're all lifted, that's the place that I come from. And it took a little while for people to understand that. And, I'm obviously talking about my family because they're the biggest people that you learn the biggest lessons from. And I too have had my touch of depression, anxiety, even suicide attempt. It got very, very bad when I was younger. And I started to go into self-development because what we all tend to do is we look far too much outside of our little box to think we need something out there to fill it in. And it's not that case at all. It's just starting with you and knowing who you are as an individual, which no one takes the time to do. And it started with reading lots of books. So I I read a lot of self-development books, understanding the human psyche. So understanding neuroscience, understanding, how two neurons can come together to form a train of thought and what connects them and what worry does for you and what serotonin is and, understanding all the chemicals that are going on. And that was great. It helped me. All those depressing things that I used to think about before, I would understand now on a very scientific point of view that actually that's just a very human, almost robotic thing that happens within your mind. It is like Netflix suggestions. If you're going to think something, it's going to go, hey, you remember that really bad thought? Yeah, I've got another one for you. Here you go. And unfortunately, you create a habit. So you've got to try and break that cycle in order to come away from it and start changing for the better. But it wasn't enough learning all the human side to it. I still felt empty and I didn't understand why. And I went to a spiritual festival, actually. Mm-hmm. And when they were there was half naked women and men and what have you, walking around and giving each other free love. Well, hang on, that sounds awful. What I mean is long hugs for about 20 seconds. And I was like, okay. And I was taking the mickey a little bit out of people because I wasn't there. I didn't quite understand. And it was the next day I was feeling really emotional, we went to do dancing meditation. So we went into a hut and we were told to close our eyes and we just move with the music. Our arms flail everywhere. It doesn't matter, drop all caring what anybody thinks. It's not about that. It's about you in the now. So I did that. And as I was doing that, I couldn't explain it. My throat just kept tensing up and water would come to my eyes, but I just couldn't cry. And I was like, why am I feeling like this? This is weird. So I said to my friend, look, I'm going to take some time out and I'm just going to walk around a bit. Don't know what's wrong with me. And I said to my friend, look, I'm going to just walk around and try and get rid of this. So I did. I walked around and I was just following my feet, actually, just looking at the ground. And I came to a big teepee hut, a wigwam. And it said spiritual healing by shaman. And I was like, oh, all right, whatever, I'll give it a try. And this goes hand in hand with trusting your intuition. Right. You are not just everything that you see in the mirror. There is more to you as a human. We pick up on other things, and nobody can deny that. Even just to give you an example, you could walk into a house that two people have had an argument, and you could say, "Oh wow, you could cut the atmosphere in here with a knife." These little sayings have been going around for years because we do pick up on energy. We do pick up on vibes. Energy is real. If no one does believe in spirituality, at least they can understand the energy side of things. And I trust my intuition. And I went into the wigwam hut and I sat down and she turned around. She goes, "Hi, can I help you?" And I went, "Yeah, I just booed my eyes out. And I was like, "I don't even know why I'm crying. I'm really sorry." And she said, "That's okay. It's not a problem." She said, "Sit over there." So I sat over there and she said, what's wrong with you?" And I said, "I don't know." And I'm answering because I'm reacting. Emotional state. I go, "I don't know." And she said, "Right, 2 seconds. I'm going to ask you again. Just give yourself some time. I'm going to ask you again and hear what comes to your mind first, And I was like, okay, don't just say out loud. Hear what comes to your mind inside. And I was like, okay. So she asked me again. And the first word that came to my head was anger. And I was like, "I don't know why I'm angry. I'm not angry." She was like, "Okay." So she said, "Lie down." So I laid there for an hour and a half, and I didn't stop crying. And she made me go into the past, and I kind of had to close my eyes. And she said, "Right, what?" She was doing a load of things like breathing to the rock and burning all this sage and what have you. Which I was very cynical at that point of view. So I was like, all right, get on with it. And then she said, "Just give yourself some time. I want you to go back in time and I want to see where Alex is, little Alex. Just imagine where she is." So gave myself some time. It was just black. And then this vision came towards me. This image came towards me with my eyes shut. And it was me as a little child. And I was hiding under a bed. And I had a very confused look on my face, but I totally understood what was going on. You just know. I just knew what that look was. I knew what she was doing. And she asked me, she said, "Okay," because I said, "I see little Alex and this is what she's doing." She said, why is she there?" And I said, "She feels she's a burden because she keeps getting told off and she's very misunderstood. There's not a lot of love being given to her because the parents and the peers are in that moment in time going through their own stuff. So they're only thinking of themselves. So this small child is trying to help and love them all and be there and like, hello, and grab their attention, but they haven't got time for it. They're exhausted." So at that point in time, I just wanted to hide away and I just wanted to not be a burden because I didn't want anyone to be upset. And obviously feeling that about yourself, your inner child is hiding because of that. It just made me more upset. I just thought, oh my God, that's how I was feeling. And I totally understood it. So she asked me to welcome her back in, and we did a few other exercises. She asked me what I would say to my parents back then with the knowledge that I have now. And funnily enough, the things that I did say out loud, once they left my lips, I was like, oh my God, I do that myself. And you realize how much you adopt things, even though you don't want to, from your parents. I went on to say about you adopt things from your parents without you knowing, even the things that you think, "I'll never be like them." You end up adopting these because we learn monkey see, monkey do. And a lot of the time we do adopt these things without knowing. And when they left my lips, when I said what I wanted to say to my parents back then of how they handled me and how they acted with the knowledge that I had now, I realized, I'm doing this myself in my own life. And once I did this. And as I said, loads of different therapy will help with loads of different people. You know, I can't say one thing will work for everyone. It never does. That's the beauty of being us. And it released me. It basically got rid of a lot of stuff that I had, a lot of bad past energy that I had, emotional hurt, and it got rid of it. It really did dissipate. And I was unstoppable from when that happened, because I broke through barriers. I didn't care what people thought. I wasn't looking for people to love me anymore. I wasn't looking for people to accept me. I didn't have these limiting beliefs where I didn't believe in myself. I thought, I can do this. I'm a hell of a person, blah, blah, blah. You know, I started to love me. I started to understand me. I welcomed my inner child back. And I was just like, let's absolutely go for it. And I then started to learn more about spirituality. So I've been doing all the self-development stuff, learning about the human psyche on a scientific point of view. And then I learned about the spiritual stuff. And this is how I explain it. I explain it as the human stuff, the self-development is like building a car and understanding how it works from a mechanical point of view. I understand how the cogs turn. That's great. But there was still something missing. When I learned more about the spiritual stuff, and I'm not saying, you know, you have to be on your knees and praying or going to church or anything like that.
Sure.
It's just more raising your awareness, understanding who you are, being back in center, you know, being kind to others, that kind of thing, raising your vibration, being more conscious, that type of thing. That's my spirituality. That's how I describe it. When I learned more about that, it's almost as if I went back to that car that I built and understood how it worked and sat in the driver's seat, turned the key and felt the ignition go. I felt how it was to drive. I knew what it was. You know, I had the experience then. So I had the full picture. And every day I just believe in the universe because of law of attraction. There's so much that when you raise your vibration, you're on this really good frequency because you're happy in yourself. You're doing things that you want, not bending to others and fitting in with society and doing this and doing that. When you're doing that for you and you keep being this happy person, that stuff that you're emitting is coming back. It comes back tenfold because you're in a good place, just as it was when you were bad and it came back in bad ways. So that's I know it's a long way to explain it, but that is why I've got this happy way about me, is because I know stuff happens in that place and I make sure that I keep there by, you know, doing the right things for me, feeding my brain the right information, taking time out when I need to and understanding that that's important, helping and loving others at the same time, doing all these positive things, you know, affirmations, mantras, whatever it is, that's what keeps me happy.
Well, here's another one, which is fun.
Sorry?
Here's a fun one. How tall are you?
I don't know. Why does that matter? Okay.
It's here. I mean, I'm sorry. It's a question. What can I say?
I am 5'7", 5'6".
All right.
5'7".
There you go. 5'7", ladies and gentlemen. Okay. There's not really much more we can talk to about that question. Okay.
No.
It's a number. All right. So there you go. All right. To date, what has been your favorite photo shoot and why?
Oh no. Oh.
All right. You can narrow it down. You know, you can give me two or three out of, go ahead. Doesn't have to be one.
Yeah, because they've been so varied. Okay, so there's different areas that I'll pick up, and I'll go in for the professional kind of commercial work. And my favorite one, I do love a catwalk when I have the chance, but I'm not as tall as many people on the catwalk. So when I get to do it, I'm like, woohoo! But my favorite one was working for Speedo, and we were in central London, and we had to go to Speedo. I think it was near Covent Garden, and we got changed into all our outfits. And then there's a huge congregation almost of these females, different shapes and sizes in these new Speedo wear. And we're being filmed walking through in the middle of the day in the Speedo wear. And we had to walk right through London to get to the nearest swimming baths, which I couldn't tell you now because it was a few years ago. and we had to then jump into the pool as well. So it was all filmed, and what I loved about it was just so, because it was a few years ago. We're talking about 5 years ago now. It was a bit daring. It was a bit out there, and people were like, what on earth is going on? And wherever we went, because we had smiles on our faces, it was infectious. People were doing the same thing. They were smiling back. And then we got to jump in the pool afterwards. That was a cool opportunity. And obviously for a big company as well. So that was nice. And, okay. So favorite one with, obviously I work with a lot of hobbyists, hobbyist photographers, because there's so many people that really want to get into photography. So they're really grateful for people to help with building their portfolio. So I work with a lot of photographers like that, and they're gorgeous people. I do absolutely adore them, and it'd be very hard to separate one. But okay, it would have to be one in Netherlands, and I was doing, because I do nude art modeling as well. So we were in the thick of the woods, and obviously I was absolutely starkers, and people would just drive by, and you could just see their heads following you as they're driving by, like, what on earth is going on? And they'd roll down their window, because we popped over to Germany, as you do, because it was only half an hour away from where we were in the Netherlands, and they'd be like, "Das ist Klaas," which is like this brilliant, loving it. And then one of the shoots, I was rolling around in mud. So, well, it was, again, just being innovative. He said, right, we need you to look a bit witchy. So I said, right. And I saw a mud puddle, and I just jumped and rolled straight into it and just smeared my whole body with mud. It was I've got that on tape as well. Their faces like, what are you doing? But the pictures are awesome.
Well, see, there you go. It's creativity. And it's funny that of all the countries in the world where people would be, shouting out about someone who's nude in a field, I wouldn't have thought the Netherlands would have been on that list. They're pretty cool people over there. I
thought so too. But one of the shoots there we did, I was standing on a bridge within one of the towns in Zwolle town. And I was wearing kind of a dominatrix get-up. It was a leather skirt. It was long boots. It was like a mesh net top. But I didn't have a bra underneath, so you could see everything. And I was stood with a whip in the middle of a bridge. And it was broad daylight again, and everyone was just walking by. And obviously some parents and such were walking by and hiding their children's eyes. And I was like, oh, God.
Probably American tourists.
Pardon?
Probably American tourists.
Yeah. Don't look there. You'll turn to stone.
Right. No, salt, whatever. Get out of here. Yes. Oh, man. So, yeah, what are you going to do? People are what they are, right? I mean, absolutely. Deal with it. All right, I've got some lingerie lowdown questions, okay? Now, this is a little, we're going to play a little game, okay? It's an A or a B, okay? It's a quick answer, A or B, okay?
Okay.
Silk or nylon?
Silk.
Lace or floral?
Lace.
Brief or thong?
Thong.
Bra or bralette?
Ooh, bralette.
Padded or not? Or skip it.
Yeah, because I padded.
Okay, we'll go with padded then. Are you a swimsuit or a bikini girl?
Bikini. Gotta get them abs out.
There you go. Yeah, what's the sense of doing that all that work if you don't get to show them? Are you a summer girl or a winter girl?
Summer all the way. So
100%.
Winter. Be gone.
100%. All right. There's 3 options here. Stockings, pantyhose, or tights. Remember, there's no wrong answer. And by the way, if you want to throw something else in there, go ahead.
I would say, I'd say tights.
Okay. Nude or black?
Black.
Sheer or opaque?
Sheer.
Okay. Bodysuits or not a fan?
I love bodysuits. The way that they just hug a woman's figure. I just love them. They're so sexy.
Okay, there you go. A fan. All right, here we go. Without naming any brands, give me a couple of the favorite things and your least favorite things you've reviewed for Lingerie Lowdown.
Okay, without giving brands. There was this nude bodysuit. Oh my God, it was stunning. It was stunning. Can I say there's another one that I really like as well, but can I say it was, okay, I won't say the brand, but it was part of, so we were sent zodiac signs. And they sent me my zodiac sign, and no joke, I actually choked up. It was really weird. Because the company tried to do, they tried to portray the zodiac signs through the garment, so it had to reflect the traits that they would have. So I'm Cancerian, I'm Cancer, and when I held it in my hands, when I saw it, I was like, God, it does feel like me, and it choked me up, and I was like, oh my God, I'm such an emotional cow. But yeah, it was the silk. So then that was silk. It was silk and silver, little nightie, and it was beautiful. Like it was backless at the back, and you could just, because I quite like eroticism, but I like it more about, not about like biting nipples and that kind of thing. It's more about sensual. It's more about, it could be like the small space of a part of your neck or something, or the hair standing on, that kind of intimacy. And that's what I felt from that. It was bang on.
Wow. Okay. How about a couple of the least favorite things?
There's some wet look tights that it looked great on paper, and when you pulled it out, you thought, yeah, this is going to go, but it made me look like I had cankles and wrinkly ankles. So I was like, no, I can't.
Yeah, it's like good. Yeah.
No. And there was one bralette that looked really nice, but when I put it on, it just looked like it was maternity wear for my boobs, and I was like, oh no, sorry.
This is not going to work. It's like,
no.
Some things, as you say, look better in the magazine than they do when you start to put them on. So there you go. Yeah. Okay, now you're my expert. Okay, here's what I need. I need 5 things. Lingerie. Now, lingerie obviously goes the gambit from bras all the way to whatever, kink wear, whatever. You're the expert. 5 things you think that all women should have in their lingerie collection. And, as I said, that goes from anything you can wear every day until to something that you might hold back for something very special. So 5 of them, whatever you wish.
Okay. Well, obviously I'm going to promote bodysuit all the way through. Bodysuit, 100%. Get your size, get the one that feels comfortable, and you can wear them as tops underneath as well if you wanted to. They're versatile, but they make you feel like new age kind of sexy, I would say. And they come in so many different ranges of colors and all sorts, so you would always find the right one for you. I would definitely say the nightie as well, like the little silk one I was talking about, because I think it's almost old fashioned, like slip the little cute nightie on and what have you if your partner's coming home, but it makes you feel really sweet, because we all have different characters to us, and I feel it could make you step into the kind of sweeter side to you, where you feel maybe a little bit of vulnerability, but it's still sexy. I would say a Brazilian thong, just because of the way that it highlights your bum. It almost makes it look into a love heart, and it's really nice, when you can check out your bum and you just think, oh, I'm loving my bum. So that's 3 items. one I got the other day, pajamas, like cute pajamas. Honestly, just invest in some really nice pajamas, because when it comes down to downtime and you time, if you've got something that you can slip into, so it's not necessarily for a partner or anyone else, like the pajamas can be just for you. If you've got something cutesy, comfortable, really nice to look at, it's really soft, and you've just got out of a bath and you're going to put face mask on, you're going to put that on and then go to bed. It makes you feel so nice, and everybody loves new pajamas. We all wait for Christmas for them from Auntie Sue or whatever, but pajamas. And then the fifth one, okay, so I would say stockings, and that's because only you know their stockings until you invite someone back, obviously, but only you know their stockings in the day. So I think it could help you. It would help you slip into the other character as well, maybe a bit confident in the office or wherever you are, where you're not just wearing your tights that have given you a wedge or whatever. They are stockings. So yeah, stockings, bodysuit, pajamas, thongs, and the little nightie. There you go.
One of the things, do you have something that you wear, okay, that when you're as a businesswoman, that you basically say, nobody else is going to see this except you, but you wear it because it empowers you. It makes you feel good as you go into a specific day or meeting.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Matching underwear, like really nice matching. I mean, bra that's supporting you underneath, that it almost has like a balcony, or it has some lace underneath, there's detail there. Really nice thongs, or even briefs, but I would say like high-waisted briefs or something, or one that does go over, that shows the shape of your bum. And the stockings, because if I know that I've got that underneath, I just feel unstoppable. I just feel like sexiness for a woman is really important, because I mean, it might be exposing the male psyche a little bit here as weak, but that's down to the male being in control of his emotions. Unfortunately, for women, sex is on our side, and if we go into an office or a meeting or something where we need to call on confidence, a lot of the time it's the sexiness, it's the sassiness, it's the strength through that we find that we can produce something or prevail in something. And yeah, I think a good set of nice heels, stockings, a matching underwear set underneath, it's that kind of like, I mean, we all like the stuff that we can get away with, right? We all like the stuff where it's like, I know this and you don't know that. And yeah, it makes you feel strong. So yeah, definitely that.
You come in and you take control.
Absolutely.
Own the room. Right.
There's the other side as well, right? Is I love being mysterious. I love being mysterious, and I don't practice it. I just am. And a lot of guys that I meet in my time, they can never work me out because I'm so many different characters, but I embrace them all, and it's nice that they could probably see me in this lovely dress at work and they're like, look really lovely, and I'm like, if only you knew what I was wearing underneath. Or if I did decide to have a partner and I'd come home, then they'd see what's underneath. They're like, what, who are you? You're so cheeky.
It's funny. Mina, one of the presenters, said that she likes to wear some of her best underwear under a sweatshirt and a pair of sweatpants, or just something comfortable, because she's like, to her, it's like, I don't care if anybody ever sees this. As long as I feel good, I don't care.
Yeah.
And definitely. I think a lot of women don't understand that.
Yeah, no, that's true. But that's because of how they feel about themselves, which has gone hand in hand with our whole conversation this afternoon. It's great watching our website. It's great getting the tips, the different lingerie that you want to wear. But you could buy tons and tons of it. But if you're not working on yourself, if you're not happy with who you are, you're not going to wear them, even the best of times. Even when you're wearing sweatsuits or an office wear. You're not going to put them on because you don't like who you see in the mirror. So work on that. It's all combined, isn't it?
Yeah. It all goes down to that.
Yeah.
Well, how about social media? How can we follow you?
I'm on Instagram as Alexandra McCue. It's all just one word. Facebook's more personal, that type of thing. But yeah, absolutely add me up on Instagram. I haven't got the hang of Twitter yet. It's because it's like everybody's thought processes go on Twitter, and I kind of stay away from it a little bit. But Instagram, absolutely. So it's Alexandra McCue, and that's AlexandraMcCue.
Special thanks to our guest, Alexandra McCue. As I said, a good follow on Instagram. By all means, check her out on Instagram and, of course, on Lingerie Lowdown, the website where she does reviews. Okay? All right. We will be back with more of Lingerie Lowdown right after this from BMW, makers of the ultimate electric driving machine. We're talking, of course, about the i3.
Life is about making decisions. At BMW i, we decided it was time to reinvent the car from the ground up, making sure we were open for truly innovative ideas. We decided that the car we wanted must be electric, and it should be made of extremely light and super strong carbon fiber. And finally, we decided to make it more intelligent and added our promise of incomparable driving pleasure. We made all these decisions to offer you a choice. The all-electric BMW i3.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, if you're not one of the over 6,000 people who have taken the opportunity to subscribe to the podcast, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, we make it very simple to do, okay? Here's what you got to do. You can find us in the iTunes store because we're part of the Apple Podcast family. Switch on over to Google Play because we're part of the Google Podcast family. You can find us on Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, as well as TuneIn, iHeart, and YouTube, to name a few. Now, if you can't find us on the app that you use, not a problem. Search. Get that Google machine now and search Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast, and hit the favorite button or the subscribe button. And every 2 weeks, you'll get a brand new edition of the podcast sent directly to your tablet, to your phone, or to both, okay? No excuses here. Now, we make it even simpler, all right? If you have one of those wonderful assistant devices like Alexa or Google or Siri, all you have to do is say, hey, Alexa, please play the latest edition of Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast, and she will do it for you. So we don't make it any easier. I'll tell you right now, that's about as easy as it gets, folks. All you have to do is say it, and it pops up. So please go out and subscribe to us today. We greatly would appreciate it. So speaking of appreciation, got to say that we appreciate Alexandra McCue joining us. Again, follow her on Instagram and check her out on Lingerie Lowdown, the website. Speaking of Lingerie Lowdown, the website, we have got a deal for you. That's right. If you have not yet become a member, we would love to have you as part of our team, okay? So we're offering listeners to this podcast a 10% discount on our 6 to 12-month memberships. Simply enter the coupon code AlexPod, that's AlexPod, when you are prompted, and you receive 10% off the price of joining for 6 to 12 months. Let me go over that again. Real simple. As I said, we'd like you to be part of our team. And check out Lingerie Lowdown, the website. You're going to get a discount on a 6 or 12-month membership plan. Simply enter the coupon code AlexPod when prompted, and you get that 10% off the price of joining for 6 to 12 months. Okay? Now, this is a wonderful opportunity for husbands and wives, boyfriends and girlfriends to subscribe and to look through all the different thousands of types of lingerie that is being reviewed by our many presenters. As I said before, it's a diverse group. It's a group of folks from all over the world, as well as all different types of body shapes and sizes. So by all means, check it out and be a subscriber. I think that you're going to enjoy it and get that 10% discount. It makes it much easier. Okay. So many thanks to our guest, as I said before, Alexandra McCue, for joining us. That's it this week for this edition of Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast. I'm Jim Williams. We will be back in 2 weeks' time with yet another edition of the podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed it. And until that time, be safe and have a wonderful 2 weeks.
She likes fashion. She likes fashion. She likes
boys, parties, style, fame.